Everybody knows that real estate transactions slow down a little bit in the wintertime, but that doesn't mean your business has to slow down. This week, we're bringing you Brad Reeser back so that he can talk about how to maintain momentum in the wintertime.
So don't plan to hibernate this winter. Get to work.
Welcome back to Talking Real, brought to you by the Oklahoma Association of Realtors. You're tuned in 2020 to episode 101. Man, the episode numbers are getting a mouthful, Nabil.
I know, the new decade.
Yes. Nabil, how is your year going so far?
Not
just your day.
Year's going fantastic.
Good.
Yeah, no complaints so far. You know?
It's been a great 2020.
It's been a great 2020. We'll see you next year.
Yeah. Well, we're excited to be back in the Talking Real studio. We took a couple of weeks off for the holidays. We hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas, New Year, and all the holidays that you may celebrate around this time period, and got to spend some time with family, friends, or traveling, or whatever. Hope you had a great time, safe time, and you're back 2020, ready to get the year started off with a bang.
Conquer the new decade.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great year. New decade, 2020. We don't have flying cars yet, but, we were
They're
promised
coming.
a lot of those
They're coming.
things, but they're coming. This week on Talking Real, I'm excited that we're bringing back Brad Reeser again for a topic that we talked about this last year. We really wanted to do this topic, and we didn't have a chance to. So I'm excited that we're able to finally do this. And what we wanted to talk about was all the things that you can do in the wintertime to help maintain momentum. That wintertime transactions slow down. There's not as many sales, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the business slows down. And there's so many other things that you can be doing to maintain that momentum, set yourself up for a real success going into spring and summertime and when things start to pick up. And wanted to bring in Brad again, who's been in the industry for quite some time, has a lot of great experience, 2019 Realtor of the Year, and bring some of his experience to talk about all of his insight into what you can do to maintain that momentum in the wintertime.
Yeah, so I'm excited to hear what he has to say. So let's get right into it.
Let's do it. We're joined here once again in the Talking Real studio with 2019 Realtor of the Year and longtime, very experienced realtor, Brad Reeser, who's, if you haven't had a chance, go back and listen to the previous episode that we had with Brad. He shared a ton of great insight from his experience in the industry that you can get a lot from. And we've got him back here in the studio for another exciting episode.
I don't know how Brad feels about you calling him a long-time, very experienced realtor.
I never use any inappropriate words that might cause offense.
You know, that sneaks up on you faster than you think. Yeah, I mean, that is all of a sudden you went from changing diapers to all of a sudden they're talking about changing yours. So it just happens quickly.
Yeah. I didn't buzz all my hair off because I thought it looked cool.
Yeah.
That was the thing to do.
Yeah, the hair was going away. So
what's going on today?
Well, Brad, so we're here. It's cold outside. It's wintertime, and we've talked to you about this before kind of offline, and I wanted to get you in the studio to talk to us about a couple of things. There's this perception that and obviously the market heats up in certain times, but there's this perception that the industry just shuts down in the wintertime and it's a downtime and there's nothing you can do about it.
Kind of follows like the weather pattern.
Yeah, exactly. And so we wanted you to come help us, one, debunk the myth that business just got to shut down.
I can debunk it a little bit. Look, it does slow down, right? And those are great times to take care of some other things that we don't do. But here's an interesting thing. I have a lot of customers that say, well, we're going to wait till spring to put a house on the market. And I ask them, so we want to go on the market when everybody else does? There's great opportunity in listing houses in January, February, March, because everybody's going to wait till May. And then when they say, well, we'll be ready April 1st, well, they're ready about May 15th. Maybe get it by Memorial Day because, there's a lot more that we need to do about a house and getting it ready to prepare it. But if someone's got a nice house, it's going to sell any time of year. The interesting thing is it's difficult, as most realtors know when we go out, to find a really nice house. Have you guys ever looked for a house?
I have just gone through that. Closing it. Yeah.
Okay, so you just went through that.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to find a nice house. You know, there's always going to be something that we need to do. Okay, we walk through. Well, we really want wood floors. That's going to be $18,000. You get a nice house, you need to put it on in the winter. You need to put it on when there's not one other house over there. And plus, you're still working off summer comps because this becomes a little seasonal as well. If they bracket for you pick up the full summer of comps. So if you've got a nice house, it helps it. All of a sudden you get to May, well, we've sold all these houses over the winter, and now one sold in June. We sell that house in June. All of a sudden it's over a year. We're not using it as a comp. That process starts over again. And so I think there's great opportunity in the winter, and there's also great opportunity to get our business plan in place, to make sure our expenses are cut, to make sure that we're prepared. How are we launching this next season? So, I mean, it's not a good time to go home. It's not a good time to enjoy donuts with the folks at around the coffee maker and possibly talk about how terrible things are. It's a great time to look for opportunities in the marketplace and be working your sphere of influence, calling folks. Hi, how you doing? It's good to see you. How's Johnny? How's Sally?
Those are some great tips. Let's break down a couple of those. So one thing you just kind of quickly mentioned that I think is really worth repeating, and you touched on this on the last episode we had you in as well, but you mentioned...
That was back in November.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So taking a look at your expenses. So tell me a little bit more about that. I think that's a point that's worth repeating.
Well, what kills any business is advertising and payroll, right? So, I carry a pretty big staff. This time of year, we're straightening out files. We're doing things that need to be done to have us tip-top and ready to go when we know the big waves are coming. So this is a time of year when we get everything else done. We may let that go for a little while when we're working on TRRs and getting contracts done and, all of the other things that we have in our lives that pop up as realtors, playing whack-a-mole all day in the real estate business. So, but as it slows down, there's a time for doing things. And we look at our expense budgets. We look at a budget. And if you don't have a budget, start one. Have some controlled expenses in your business. Realtors can be good at a lot of things. A lot of us aren't really good business people. And in fact, that's what we have is a business, and we need to treat it like that. Money is a precious resource. It's what makes everything work. But you've got to be able to hang on to it. Now, it's probably, I say that, and I haven't had a budget at the house since we started. So right,
that hits close to home
but then
too.
you've got somebody else you have to deal with. I am the king where I am at the office. I am not the king at home. So that's a different deal. But it's look at expenses. Contact your customers, your past customers, and give them some of value when you call. Maybe something that's happening in the community, right? Hey, I just wanted to let you know. The city of Edmond is having a downtown festival next Wednesday. Be great if you guys can go out. I think it's a great time. Julie and I went last year. It was fun. But everything else going well, right?
Yeah.
How's your life?
Yeah, that was also something that you had mentioned last time was calling the people you know and calling your sphere of influence.
Absolutely.
Right. And like you said, tell them that something's going on, not necessarily to sell them anything, but it was kind of more to be a resource.
Right. Look, when people end up trapped in cars with you for a couple of weeks when they're buying a house, you get to know them, right? So you can continue that relationship by just maybe, especially if they just moved here. Hey, we're going to send you over a calendar of events that we have in the city. I think your kids might love it. So there's always opportunities to have some kind of contact, but we talk about this all the time is you got to give them some kind of value with it, all right? It's not just, hey, I want your business, but it may be, hey, here's what it is. Hope everything's going well. Some people ask at that time, hey, if you know anybody that's buying or selling real estate, would you? I'd love to help them. I'll do them a great job like I did you. And normally, people want to help you. So it's, it's a big deal. Refer people that refer things to you as well. So you'll have clients that refer a lot. Now, one thing that we do for our referral customers is they get a box of Sherry's berries the day they send, or the day after they send me a referral, whether I get a sale or not. It's interesting how something like that has a monster impact. I have one lady that I'm sure is at home broken out and probably weighs another 100 pounds than she did when we started this, because she sends us so many referrals, and she loves the strawberries. So, I mean, they're out to her like that. So anyway.
No, I think that's a great idea. There's so many realtors out there. I mean, if you're in the metro area, you're talking, whether it's Tulsa or Oklahoma City, you've got 3,000 to 4,000 other competitors out there that are vying for business. And when somebody, either themselves are looking for a realtor, they've got a friend that says, hey, do you know a realtor? If you're not number one on their list, if you're not the first name that comes to mind, then somebody else is getting that business. Somebody else is getting that referral. So just making sure, and because that person, if you sold them a house, it may be another 3 to 10 years or who knows how long before
Unfortunately,
they're
yes,
ready, right? I mean,
that's right.
These aren't people who are coming back month after month,
Right.
But you've got to maintain that regular contact with them so that when somebody does ask or when something does come up, they remember that you're the one that they need to mention.
And there's a lot of great training today with a lot of companies with drip programs and things like that you can do. Weird thing is when you make a phone call and you talk to them, well, that takes it to a different level.
Right.
And if you're calling them, if you're already doing the drip program, then, hey, you don't need to ask for business. You're asking for business in your drip, right? This is just to have a conversation.
Right.
It's interesting how that works with people. And for the most part, I absolutely love everybody that I've worked with probably just a couple of exceptions. And it's an easy phone call. And you need to make it that way. There's a lot of value you can give them when you're on the phone. You just need to stay in touch. It's a good thing to do. Helps you launch. Will get you some business during the winter as well. And know that there's opportunities out there when you talk to people. Well, there'll be more houses in the spring. Well, yeah, maybe there will.
Well, that's because people want to put them on in the spring. You can talk them out of it.
Well, right? You need to, right? There's opportunities. There's always opportunities when nobody else is out there doing it. Then that's the best time to do it. I feel like. I mean, that's when you're going to maximize price, when you don't have a lot of competition, and people that are out during this time of year when it's as cold as it is outside today, and ice spots everywhere. I think that anybody's looking for a house then is a buyer.
They're ready.
They're motivated.
They're not shopping.
They're not just out
so
popping into open houses.
that's the one thing about this. A lot of the clatter and the noise is not in the marketplace like it is in the summer, where they're just going out to kind of look. Nobody's going out to kind of look now. They want a house. So and they're out there for a couple of reasons. They may want to buy a house with a pool because this time of year when you buy a house with a pool, people don't go, oh my gosh, I'd like to be in that pool tomorrow. They're going, how much work is that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But that gives you an opportunity when somebody's selling a house in the winter with a pool, which, by the way, is not a good idea if you own a pool. It needs to be open, blue, and hot outside. but that's a great time for a buyer to go buy a house with a pool.
That's what we just did.
Well, right, okay. It's what you just did,
Yeah.
and it was brilliant.
Absolutely.
Right, because the value's the same. When if it's 100 degrees outside, we're going to sell pools. Probably that market time shrinks rapidly because what the expense is going to be if you have to dig up a hole in your backyard and then wait for that to get done because they take that first payment and then you never see them again.
Right.
It doesn't seem like.
Yeah.
Or it rains. Right? Or it rains.
Yeah.
So, I think there's great opportunities in the winter. You just need to look for them.
Yeah. Man, I love that point that there may be less volume of buyers out there, but the ones that are out there are very serious.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because for them to be out there looking around the holidays and the wintertime, those are people who are really interested in buying a house. I mean, they're out there for a reason.
Some are opportunists.
Sure.
Right? Because they think it's going to be slow now. That's why we're looking now. We don't want to look when we have to wait in line to get in a house.
Right.
So good for them.
Well, the bottom line is if somebody's interested in, well, let's have our house on the market in May. Well, why not get it out there now?
Right. Is there a reason you're not doing it?
Worst
Do you have
that
a pool?
happens? It sits on the. Well, okay.
Yeah, that would be a reason.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you got a pool. Wait,
Yeah.
right? You're not doing them service by putting it on in the winter,
But
unless
if they're
they just
just-
have to sell.
If they're just doing it because they think, oh, that's the right time to do it, well, then you may be
Right.
missing out on some.
Well,
real
no,
serious buyers.
absolutely, and especially exceptional houses. Those houses sell all the time, anytime, but they have no competition normally in the winter. So that's
Yeah.
it's a good opportunity.
No competition is a good competition.
Well, that's right, right? I mean, yeah, that it is. So
Yeah, because you're going to catch those people that, I mean, a couple. One, the people that are out there that just started looking, they're real serious. Maybe people that are holdovers that started looking late in summer, didn't find what they want, but they want to move and they're tired of looking and they see it and they're like, I want it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
This
right.
is-
No, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
And so yeah. Look, this is a 12-month business. It doesn't. It's been the same way as long as I've been in business. You get to churn a little bit if you want to sell houses in the winter. I mean, we're school driven, and that may be just that may be more of the area that I service is very school driven.
Sure.
So, normally they want to get moved in the summer or they'll get moved in the winter. But, people transfer. Normally need a house probably by the beginning of the second semester. So we do a lot of business in December with transferees. So, there are opportunities always out there. You just have to look for them.
Yeah.
Right.
I love that perspective. And, as I'll give my little lawyer spin as well, that because you mentioned taking care of some of those things that aren't just necessarily selling houses. You've got all these other things that you need to do. Get your house in order, check your expenses, forecast for the next year. What kind of things we want to do? Set a budget, figure out what kind of advertising you're going to be doing.
Continuing ed.
Continuing education. That's a great opportunity.
Right.
If you've got a trust account, that the next time you renew your license, the real estate commission is going to come and ask for some documentation on your trust account, and they may do a random audit, make sure your files are in order. That slower time, because like you said, if you are just out there running and gunning in the summertime and the spring, you may have let some of that kind of get behind. And so when it slows down, let's get your compliance stuff. Because the last thing you want to do is in the middle of winter when you are down and feel like you don't have a lot of business, then to also have a real estate commission investigation.
When you talk to someone about it.
Yeah.
Well, you really taking it kind of far from slow winter to
Yeah.
real estate investigation.
slippery
Yeah,
slope.
yeah, well,
But,
and when you hear a lawyer say compliance, it
it's
kind of, I don't know, it made me feel weird.
It's the stuff you don't want to think about, but maybe that's a good time to do it. Get the house in order. Get the whole house in order. It's a good time to do it. So that's a good opportunity to not just maintain that momentum by continue to work the pipeline. Keep stuff going. Get stuff in the pipeline. Get all your house in order. Get your expenses and your compliance and all that stuff going. This is a perfect time to do that so that you're then set up for when springtime rolls around. And if things do pick up, when they pick up, then you're not having to worry about all these other secondary things.
All things, look, it's no different than farming or anything else, right? There's a process to it, and it's a good time to plant.
Yeah.
You will harvest, and it's a good time to plant. Now, do we need to money manage? Certainly we do, right?
Absolutely.
When we're all making a lot of money in the summer, and it's pretty easy to let go of it. We got to remember that sometimes seasonally, we're not going to have the same amount of income in January as we had last July.
Put a little in the silo.
Right. See, that's being self-employed. So you put a little bit back so you can ride through those times.
Yeah. And one thing that I want to bring up, again, we're going to play the lawyer compliance card here that you mentioned on the last episode, but don't forget to pay your taxes. Quarterly taxes, get them
Got to
paid.
pay those quarterly so they get paid before anybody else.
Absolutely.
I
So,
love Uncle Sam and I love the state of Oklahoma, but yes, pay them.
Yeah. Every commission that you get, you need to be considering how much you need to take out of that and set aside in a hidden place so that when that quarterly time comes, you get that paid. Don't get
Yeah,
behind.
and you can get behind so far on that it just and look, today it's changed, but you're not paid up. Guess what? No license.
That's true. That's
You're not
true.
paid up with the state of Oklahoma. Guess what? No license.
That is a grim way to start closing out this episode. But that's if winter wasn't cold enough, you don't pay your taxes, they may take your license away. But look, there's so many good things that you've mentioned here about getting your house in order and call people. Call those clients, right? That's all you got to do.
Maintain those relationships.
Absolutely. It's never a bad time to call a past client just to check in on them. You don't have to sell them anything. Give them something useful, something going on in the community. Ask them if you can send them something, and maybe it's a good time to update you can make sure you got their email address, all those kinds of things, so you got a good database going, and spend some of that time in the winter just getting ready so you can be set off.
And get out there on social internet, right?
Yeah.
Get out on your Facebook. Get out there and get things out there.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Be creative.
Absolutely. So, Brad, I think this was fantastic. I think this is going to be really valuable for people as maybe they're sitting around kind of wondering what they're going to be doing through this winter time.
Something to do.
Absolutely.
Yep.
We've given you a lot of things to do.
Get off that couch and get out there and go.
And make sure that every week you're listening to Talking Real every Tuesday.
That's right.
That's also a good thing you can do in the wintertime and the summertime and all year round. Every Tuesday.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank
we appreciate you coming
we'll
back.
See you.
Once again, we really appreciate Brad coming through for a second episode to talk about what I think was a really cool topic with some fantastic information on keeping that momentum going in the winter and all the good things that you can be doing for your business to set yourself up for the spring.
Right. There's never a slow time.
Right.
There's always something that you could be doing. And like you said, just setting yourself up for that busy season.
Absolutely. We've got a number of things coming up at the association that we wanted to at least put on your radar. We actually have coming up next week, you can still sign up for the GRI 101 class. Mm-hmm. That's coming up next week.
And that's right here at OAR offices.
Yep. So that'll be here in Oklahoma City at our offices. You can get signed up for that online. You can also be on the lookout for some other things that are coming up. CapCon, Capital Conference, will be coming up in March.
March 3rd and 4th.
Yep. So we don't have registration up for that just yet, but it will be in the next day or so.
Maybe by the time you listen to this.
Yeah, so keep a lookout on your email. We really want people to show up to that. If you didn't come last year, but you maybe heard about it, it was a great time. Mm-hmm. We're just going to step that up again and just keep having another great Capital Conference this year and keep that success rolling into 2020. And Region 9 is coming up. So we've got all the states in our region, Arkansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Kansas. We're going to be having a regional conference that we get to host in Oklahoma this year, which will be in Oklahoma City. Mm-hmm. If you're interested in checking that out, head on over to narregion9.com. That's narregion and the number 9.com.
Yep.
So make sure you check that out. What else, Nabil? Anything else coming up?
I think that was it. Region 9, I'm really excited about it because I feel like we're formatting that a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of like excursions and going out and not necessarily staying in the hotel. I don't want to say a lot, but there is more than a usual conference.
Absolutely.
So I think that's going to be fun.
For sure.
Yeah.
So we look forward to everybody joining us at all the cool events that we're going to be having this year in 2020 at the association. We just, again, looking forward to a great success, both at the association and for everybody out there that is listening to Talking Real. We appreciate you joining us for the first 100 episodes, and we're excited to bring you 100 more over the next couple of years, I guess.
That's right. That's right. So in this new year, make it a resolution to share this podcast with a fellow realtor or real estate enthusiast.
Absolutely.
And yeah, leave us a rating.
Yes,
maybe that could
do.
be another resolution.
That's another resolution. Yeah,
hit those 5 stars.
Wherever you listen to your podcast, please go ahead and leave us a rating. Share us on Facebook and Instagram, wherever else you see us, and keep coming back week after week because we're going to keep bringing you great content every week right here on Talking Real. So thank you again, and we're excited for 2020. And if you have any ideas of things that you want us to talk about, go ahead and send us an email to podcast@okrealtors.com, and we love to interact with our listeners. So make sure that you are reaching out to us, and we're going to keep things rolling.
Yeah, we look forward to hearing from you.
Absolutely. So until next time, we'll see you next Tuesday on Talking Real.